Graniola. This is the Graniola channel, and I'd like to tell you a folk tale. Hi, the last story I told you was about a crocodile who was not very popular with the local people. This story is about a crocodile who is very well loved. This is the tale of the Crocodile Pal. A sister and brother lived on the banks of one of the most famous rivers in the world. The days in that place were always sunny and warm, and they played happily every day in its waters. One day they found a very small crocodile hovering under the leaves of a lush green river plant. They began to feed the little fellow every day, and the three of them became fast friends. The children felt safe and always enjoyed their freedom. One day they saw a large boat sailing by and decided it would be fun to sneak on board. When the vessel was anchored and the sailors were all resting or fishing, they made their way up. On the first and on the second day, they made certain that no one saw them, but by the third day they were extremely hungry and walked out onto the deck while the captain was speaking to his crew. By that time they were miles away from their home. The next morning, when they had anchored in a small port city, the captain took them off his ship and left them in the care of a friend of his, while he sent runners to communicate with their family to explain what had happened to the two of them. The captain's friend was a well-known artist, and to pass the time and keep an eye on them, he insisted that the siblings spend every day with him in his studio. At that time, he was working very hard to finish the decoration for a huge burial tomb. The two children began to copy the things that they saw him doing. They just wanted to entertain themselves, but in a very short time, the artist was aware that the boy was making magnificent sculptures, and the girl drew and painted almost as well as he himself did. He spoke to the king about how talented they were. When the king saw the work they had done, he asked them to make a very special birthday present for the queen. The siblings were delighted and worked almost without stopping to finish the gift in time for the royal party. The queen was overwhelmed by the creative efforts that they had made in her honor and insisted that they sit next to her during her banquet celebration. There is really no place in the world where good and virtuous people do not live alongside others who are jealous and plotting. The children were innocent and grateful, and they had enjoyed making their art and were very pleased that the queen was content with her gift. They felt very lucky to be seated at the noble table eating delicious foods. Word spread quickly among the guests about the talented and happy-go-lucky girl and boy, and most people looked upon them with interest and admiration. But there were two people attending the festive gala who were not so big-hearted. When that pair realized how popular and valued the youngsters were, they put together a plan to kidnap and then sell them. With all of the eating and drinking and dancing and singing going on, it was easy for them to sneak the young ones out of the castle and onto a boat. If you're a person that believes that goodness is rewarded, you'll not be surprised at what happened next. In that country, there was annually a time of great floods. When the waters rose, the boat, along with the kidnappers, sunk. The good children, who had spent half of their lives in the water, were able to float free and found themselves twirling around happily in the turbulent river. Luckily, their friend the crocodile had followed them upriver. He was able to lead them back to their very relieved family and they all lived happily ever after. 95% of the people living in the country of these two children, their crocodile, make their homes on the banks of the river they swam in. The river is the Nile, and the country the tale is told in is Egypt.